Good evening, Neil here with Simpler Trading weekend video for the Voodoo Mastery. Well, update as to how we got to where we are. If I can take you back in time a little bit first, we were looking for the very potential that we see volatility start on the February options expiration, and that came to pass. Certainly with that, quite the break into what was interesting, this low, and if I can remind you, we were looking for that low one day before the low actually came in. That low is on two things. One, timing on those haddock cycles that JC looks at, and two, it was a perfect 50% retracement of the Fibonacci retracements from our last major swing low, which was the late October of 22. And so from there, looking long and trying to see if we could get back to a 618 retrace of the break, which was 5,700. Well, that came in last week. So this week we were cautious, like, okay, is it going to be able to get through 57, or what are we going to do here? Last week you can see we have a fresh new buy signal, and that was nice, and we are seeing follow through all the way up to very, very, very close to the next level up here, which would be the 887 or 89, a lot of people use, which will put us right back into the February open. Okay, so that's going to be anywhere from 60.20 to 60.40. So I've got it marked at 60.30 on the top side. But recognizing the pretty drastic nature of this uptick and the fact that we're at the May OPEX right now, and also if I can mention that we are also back to the yearly open. The yearly open for the ES futures was 59.50. We're there, back to the yearly open. And so next week, what I'm looking for is going to be the possibility that we could, since we're at May options expiration, there's a lot of this bullish, kind of call exposure that can come off the table now that we're into OPEX, and so we allow for now a little pullback. So it's early enough in the day right now. It's about 1:30 Central Time, so there's still about an hour and a half left to go. In theory, I guess anything could happen here, but what I've done is I've done a high-low close, assuming the close will be near the top up here, since the open interest on the SPY is right up here at the top. I'm imagining the close is going to be right up here. That would give us a weekly pivot next week of about 58.80. And you can see for the 382 retrace of next week happens to align with that projected. Remember, I'm projecting a weekly pivot because I don't, in theory, really know the close yet, but essentially going to be the same. And so a support next week, you have two chances for support. One, the 236, and second, the 382. Since the weekly pivot is there at the 382, I'll give it a chance at the 236, but what I really like and what I kind of honestly prefer, given the fact that the weekly pivot overlaps there, I'm going to say that I'm going to look for this thing next week to trade a range. I can allow it now to come in since we're OPEX, right? So now we can allow it to release a little bit of this pressure, come in some, as low as, really no lower than, really preferably no lower than, this weekly pivot / 382 retrace, which will be at about 58.80, as you can see here. So I'm looking at this thing trading next week. I'm going to kind of give it a range here of 58.80 support up to 60.30. And remember, that's a blend. I'm going with an 887 fib and the Feb open, those 20 by 40. So I'm blending it and giving it a 60.30 on the top and a 58.80 ES, now not SPX, this is ES, range for next week with a 58.80 support. And I do like the idea of indeed support on retrace. I mean, I can allow it to come in a little bit now, but this is really bullish, and it has been since it tagged, and on timing also pretty remarkably the low down here, which was timing and a fib retrace. It's actually also, it's an overlap. That fib level is actually from the 08 low, 08, 09 low to the all-time high. It was a 236, as well as from the October 22 to the all-time high. It was a 50% retracement. So good low, nice, decisive V-shaped bottom recovery. David's been incredibly instrumental in the room with observations such as that breadth thrust, which indicated a long-term type of a bullish, kind of momentum for follow-through, which has certainly proven true thus far. So we've been doing, as you know, in the room, if you're in the room, we've been doing a lot of trading and doing really, really well, running a long book from just below 5,000 down here. And we're trying to hold. But what I'm telling you now is, we're at big levels up here, yearly open, etc., coming into May OPEX. We give a little chance to do a little retrace, and these retracements on the weeklies have been very helpful. We've used them a couple of times, from the move up here, pull back, move up, a couple of times actually. So I'm going to do the same thing again and see if we can't get an approximate weekly pivot support on 382 retrace of this week, hold support, and work our way up. Just continue to work our way up as long as levels that we deem important are not violated on retracement. Then we'll keep doing what we're doing for now, and it's been working well, so we're going to stay with it. New highs for the move as recently as today, and so nothing bearish about that. And that'll be it, I think, for tonight. So hopefully this helps. If you come and join us again in the room next week, we'll continue doing much of the same, which is adding to longs at levels of anticipated, key support on retrace, and continuing to run the long book. It's been working well, and so that's what we're going to continue to do. So I hope to see you again next week in the room. And until then, good trading, good weekend.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me